I'm Amy.
I'm Wendell.
And I'm Patrick.
And
This is
Yes,
But Why?
Podcast. How did you enjoy Hell Yes Fest? How did you enjoy the festival while you were there?
I enjoyed the festival. Some things I saw were shocking.
Shocking?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating. What's shocking?
I saw a show where they ended up baby birding wine from an audience member's mouth into the host's mouth. And that just blew me away.
What
they
show
were already,
is that?
I can't remember the name of the show, but they were mimicking massages, and they were speaking on massages, and then next thing you know, the hosts were top naked and being baby bird fed wine into their mouth. Wow.
Was it a sketch show or something?
It was a mixture, because it was improv and there was sketch going on later on in the show.
Wow. Wild. You wouldn't think that a comedian from New York City could be shocked, but I kind of appreciate that you were.
I see a lot of crazy things too, but crazy is crazy.
Yeah, you're right. Do you go to a lot of festivals?
I'm starting to get into going into more festivals. I've been a part of maybe like 3 or 4.
Right on. And you're always going with your improv troupe?
Not necessarily, because in New York they tend to have a good amount of festivals that are run by different places. And sometimes I'm solo.
Oh, right on. Do you do stand-up then?
Yes, I do stand-up as well.
Oh, awesome. Cool. You think it's, which one did you get into first?
I started off comedy by doing stand-up, and then I transitioned over into improv and sketch.
Interesting. How's the vibe switch, like, from crowd to crowd?
Well, stand-up is you're by yourself. You're up there. You don't have a team to rely on. And improv is all on the fly. So it depends upon what type of vibe you're looking for. But the crowds are one you interact with and one you really kind of don't. So it depends.
Interesting. I've heard stand-ups say that they consider their show like a conversation with the audience. Do you feel that way? And how do you feel like you communicate with the audience when you're doing improv and sketch?
I like stand-up. It depends upon it varies per person. Because I would say that I want the mood in the room to be, like, I want it to be a good mood. Like, you can feel the energy from the room. So if it involves a conversation, then that's where it goes. Now, in terms of improv and sketch, that's more focused on the people that are on stage, and it's like, okay, the crowd will come aboard.
Yeah, it is interesting that way. I have a love-hate relationship with the audience, you know. I want them to love me. I hate it when they don't. But a lot of times I have a hard time because in my mind, improv is so much more for the performers than it is for the audience. Like, it's like, we'd love you to witness this, but whether or not you're here, we're going to have a good time.
Yeah, that's a way to look at it.
I mean, because I've taught for a while, And so in the part of teaching is, convincing people that they want to continue to do it and keeping them engaged in the experience. So I'm selling to the performers so much more than I am selling to the audience, that I'm like, I was coaching this one troupe and I had to say to them, like, improv's awesome for you. It's always going to be awesome for you. You have to find a way to make the audience also have as much fun as you are having. Like, it doesn't matter to them whether you're making it up or you wrote it. They want you to entertain them, but you have that extra added magic that is, oh my God, this is happening right now. Who knows what's going to happen, that they don't get to experience.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's really, do you find that most of the improv audiences that you have are like primed and ready to watch improv?
Yeah, I do feel that. Like, they know that it's going to be an improv show. It's a little different once it's a show that'll have stand-up and stand-up and stand-up and then improv.
Yeah.
It's a little different, but it doesn't take long for the switch to happen for them to understand what's going on.
It can be difficult. Every time I see a show put those kinds of things together, I'm like, I don't know, guys. I feel like, you don't get the folk singer to open up for the heavy metal band. Like, it's just kind of a different crowd. You know what I mean? Like, and you got to embrace that. I do love, an improv audience, and I feel like they are people who know what improv is and go to improv shows on a regular basis are generally kind-hearted, I find, because they're willing to take a journey with you and they're like excited for you to be able to do it. Whereas I find a stand-up audience feels like you have to prove something to them. Like, it's a bit more like, all right, sure, make me laugh.
Yes. That's been the first two jokes.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you do stand up at theaters that are not your improv theater, or are you doing like stand up at shows at like UCB and Magnet?
No, I'm doing stand up at places that are not improv theater.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah. From what I understand, it is difficult to hone your set in an improv theater because everyone's so ready to yes and you that you just don't get the like potentially negative response that can help you make a joke better.
I can see that, and also that they're listening more though. They're more willing to give you a chance.
Yeah.
Like, because they are also, I'd say, they also feel like they're a little bit of a comedian on the inside, even if they don't do improv, because they watch it.
Yeah.
And they understand it a little differently. But people with stand-up, they usually just watch it. And it's just like, all right, I'm here for you to make me laugh.
That's so interesting. What an interesting insight. You're right. Yeah. An improv audience thinks they are also a comedian. That's so fun. Yeah. What an interesting thing. I suppose that's why it becomes easy to get new students out of the audience.
Yeah. I think so, because you see a group of people up there and they're making this up on the spot, which is a lot easier than you see this person up here. He's telling you jokes that he has written or she has written, right, or whomever it may be up there.
Yeah. So interesting. How did you originally get into comedy?
I went to a show, and this was at the Laugh House on South Street in Philly, and the things that the comedian was talking about, I was like, that happens in my life, and I know those same things. So I took a class at Helium Comedy Club, and then from there, I just went from there.
What was the first comedy class you took? What theater was it?
The class I took was at Helium Comedy Club in Philly.
Interesting. Are you from Philly?
I'm from South Jersey.
Oh, right. Yeah. Were you in Philadelphia for college or something? Or visiting somebody?
Now, Philadelphia is about a 30-minute trip for me. So I figured I was like, if I'm gonna learn the craft, I want to do it the right way, and I just made that trip once a week to go to the class.
Huh. Interesting. That's fun. Yeah, man, I guess I always forget how close places are. Yeah, because I was like, Philadelphia, how did you get there? Oh, it's 30 minutes away. Yeah, okay. Cool. Is Helium Comedy Club still there?
Yes.
Oh, right on. Awesome. And the first class that you took, was it like comedy writing? Because you said you got into stand-up first.
Yes, it was just like basically introduction to stand-up.
Huh.
But we did write, and I think it was maybe like 5 or 6 weeks. I can't remember the exact time period.
Sure.
But at the end of the class, we did a performance at the club.
Oh, great. Man. I don't know. I mean, so have you used the techniques that you learned in that first class to develop sketch and later joke writing?
Yes, for joke writing. No, for sketch.
Oh, interesting. Where'd you learn sketch?
At UCB.
Oh, okay, cool.
I learned the format of writing sketch, but also I see that all these things kind of intertwine.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are times where if I'm doing stand-up, I can pull some improv, or there's time when I'm writing sketch and I can pull some stand-up. So I see that they're all interconnected.
Yeah.
In way, shape, or form.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fun thing, well, the fun / not fun thing about comedy and writing stuff that's like topical and current is that, you know, one thing happens and more than 1,000, millions and millions of jokes are written about it, all in different formats. So it's like some people are writing, you know, stand-up jokes. Some people are writing, you know, late night talk show host jokes. There's, you know, people writing sketches for things like SNL and shows like that. So yeah, I mean, there's so much, so many ways that comedy can intertwine. And I feel like people get so mad when they're like, this person stole this joke. And don't get me wrong. When a person like directly steals a joke, like, and it's super obvious and they're like doing it the exact same way, it's like, okay, don't do that. But sometimes it's like, hey man, that thing happened in front of all of us. We weren't all going to react to it.
That is true.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it can be weird. We're all sort of dealing with it, especially with with the internet, when like every one of us can find out at the exact same time that something happened.
Yeah. And also with so many different places that you can have your jokes displayed. You could do it on Facebook. You could do it on Twitter. Like, Twitter is one of the biggest ones where it can seem like you took a joke, but somebody could just have the same idea as you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, they added the number of characters, so now you can tweet longer, but, you know, it used to be like, well, hey man, there's only so many jokes you can make out of this topic in 140 characters. Yeah. Though I have seen like total direct, like cut and paste ripoffs.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, that sucks. The other thing I was thinking about with reference to comedy writing is that we all come from different, like points of view. We have different upbringings. We have different ways we look at the world. We have different like cultural references where it's like, this reminds me of this. Oh, well, that same thing happened to me, but that reminds me of something totally different. And we are able to make jokes about it in different ways.
Yes.
Since you're living in New York City now, or I guess you still live in New Jersey, but you're spending most of your comedy time in New York City, do you find that there's sort of like an ebb and flow of topics within the community? Like everybody's talking about this these days.
I would have to say that it depends upon the circle you keep. If you're just